All right. Hello, everybody. This is going to be my episode 6, well, the season finale review, well, in-depth walkthrough slash final thoughts. And it's a, it's a little bit of a shorter episode, but a lot of stuff happened, so I have a lot of notes. So I'm just going to get right into it. All right. The episode starts off with Carly saying it's time for them to make their move. Shows confusion in the streets, police arriving, chaos inside the meeting room. Then we get this shot of Sam flying towards the city. I assume flying all the way from Louisiana. It kind of makes it seem like his the jet pack has like infinite fuel. Uh, Sam radios Bucky. They're trying to figure out a plan, and the officer here gives their respect to Bucky Barnes. uh, Sam talks about calling in some backup, and turns out it's Sharon in disguise right here. And she surprises Bucky before removing her image inducer. Once Carly sees that Sam has arrived, once she sees Sam flying in, she gives the go ahead to start the plan, and the flag smashers, pretending to be security guards, um, they roll these gas grenades into the room. And to me, it looks like these are goblin grenades. It's like a sort of like modernized, like an MCU version. Whereas like any of the comics, they're like pumpkins. But this is glowing green light, something that we would in the past associate with Green Goblin. Uh, right. All the politicians are corralled into this room, and Sam flies in, and you know he takes out the flag smasher, and they give us a very nice shot of his new suit right here. Him holding the shield and everything. Looks really good on him. Yeah, Sam handled the guy really easily. Uh, and the other security there, like, was really confused. Like, oh, I thought Captain America was on the moon. Which kind of leads me to believe that Captain America might actually be on the moon, because they keep on saying that, and it just seems like a classic Marvel misdirect. Sam tries to keep everyone inside, but Batroc the Leaper shows up out of nowhere, pissed and looking for blood. Sam is occupied with Batroc, and Sharon and Bucky are trying to figure it out where to go. And we get this cool scene of like all the politicians and stuff going down this spiral staircase. Just to stall for time, Carly gets a hold of Bucky on the phone. Well, somebody brings the phone up to Bucky, and she's just trying to get in his head. Meanwhile, the politicians are put into these two trucks. They get locked with these very strong looking locks. Here we get a good look at the lock on the second truck. Sam and Batroc are still fighting. Bucky is trying to reason with Carly, but she was just trying to hold him in place anyway. Bucky takes a motorcycle, and Sharon plants this acidic gas stuff, this bomb on the guy, melting his face whenever he gets into his vehicle. Uh, just more suspicious tech that you might find from like Norman Osborn. Um, who knows though? Maybe she got it from somewhere else. Uh, Sharon warns them that the helicopter is about to leave, and Sam is still preoccupied with Batroc. But Bucky just replies with this comment. It's like, I don't fly, man. That's your thing. Using the shield in combination with his new jetpack, Sam is about uh, Sam is like pretty easily able to like finesse Batroc, or at least like knock him down enough to where he can, fly away. Fly away, and we get this cool shot, him throwing the shield out, and then he's about to catch it mid-flight. Sam catches up with the helicopter, which isn't doing some dangerous moves to try and shake our new captain. Sam teases the helicopter for a bit before backing off and asking Red Wing to see if anybody knows how to fly a helicopter. And Red Wing is apparently able to scan like people's faces and stuff. Kind of like a privacy violation, but whatever. It cuts to the Flag Smashers, and Carly is talking about um, how they might have to kill the hostages. The other Flag Smashers don't seem to be on board with this, but Carly doesn't care. They hesitate when Carly does their greeting, one world, one peace, but Carly like intimidates them into doing it. Back in the air, a police helicopter like starts approaching the Flag Smasher one, bumps into it, making it spin out of control. It's kind of blurry, but we get a good look at like Red Wing um, saving this one officer, and of course, Cap is on the other side getting the other officer. They land on this bridge, and here's where we get the first look at some of the stuff that his wings can do. It completely tanks this helicopter as it's about to fall on them. And immediately after, he gets up heroically as a crowd of people cheer and he flies off. The trucks holding the politicians hit the roadblock that the Flag Smashers set up, and they then come and apprehend the vehicle. At the same time, Bucky is riding up, and is not he's not looking to slow down. He uses the bike to launch himself into the Flag Smasher standing in between the trucks, and they both start fighting. As a distraction, Carly orders the others to light up the truck. Uh, I'm a bit disappointed about that they went this route with Carly. It's a bit of a lib take to portray an activist like herself as violent, I think. But I understand an exaggerated, like the point of using like an exaggerated scenario to prove a point. Um, they're not really trying to say that people, who hold her beliefs are violent. And then here we have Walker showing up, calling Carly out with his loud, chilling voice right here. Been tons of memes about it. And we get a good look with him here with his makeshift shield. He wants to finish things with Carly. And surprisingly, Carly tries to reason with him. Like, she didn't mean to kill Amar, that his life wasn't important. And this just makes Walker mad that she said that. Walker throws his bootleg shield, and Carly kicks it away with ease. Meanwhile, Bucky has been trying really hard to open this door. Whatever the lock is made out of, it is really tough. Maybe like an adamantium alloy or something. Not sure. They don't say they don't say what it is, so I guess they could technically get away with it. Technically the show was written before the Fox deal, so at the time when they were writing it, they wouldn't have had like the rights to use like adamantium. But they could just say it's like an extremely hard metal and get away with it. Walker gets floored and is just getting stomped by everybody. Bucky damages the lock and is able to force the door open. He then helps everybody out of the truck. Uh, Bucky then tries to help Walker, but is knocked down into this pit of a construction site. One of uh, one of them grabs a metal bar and jumps down and hits him with it. And here's Bucky, like barely blocking it in time, and it uh, cut back cuts back to Sam, and he's starting his rescue plan. He gets knocked around by the helicopter a bit, but it doesn't really phase him that much. Like he shakes it off like it is nothing. He tells her to take the wheel when they count down. And when they count down, uh, Sam knocks like the door off with the shield, but then straight up flies through the helicopter. And everything goes according to plan. Back to Walker, he's able to get back on his feet, knock down two of the flag smashers, and begin focusing on Carly. The people in the other truck are screaming for help. Carly goes to save them, but she so she can still use them for leverage. But Walker intervenes. Walker is able to control the fight for a bit, but Carly leads him down a narrow walkway. She's able to finesse him by swinging around the pipes, knocking him down. And she then yeah, right. She then drives off with the truck. Back to Bucky. He's able to take the steel girder or whatever away from the flag smasher and knocks him out with it. Carly drives the truck off the ledge of the construction site. Walker is able to catch up, but he's faced with a decision between revenge and saving lives. He throws down his shield down to where Bucky is, and this is like a scene that like a lot of people thought was heartbreaking, which it was kind of him. It's kind of symbolic, I guess, him giving up on being Captain America, I guess, or him throwing away his pride. But he throws down the shield so he can pull the truck up. And here's a picture of him trying his very best. Uh, Flag Smashers quickly pull him off, and they fall down into the pit. But our boy Captain America catches up. Well, he shows up to catch the truck, which doesn't really seem physically possible, but it's cool, so that's okay. And it's just him showing off what he can do with the wings. They even got these like mini jets that pop off to help share the load. And he's able to put the truck into a stable position. He's got a crowd cheering for him on the sidelines. We got someone calling him Black Falcon here, and the guy next to him says, "Nah, That's Captain America. And Red Wing is easily able to cut through the lock. You know, the same thing that Bucky had a hard time removing. Sam does the classic Captain America thing where he like throws the shield and knocks out several people. Carly gets up and sees Sam in his new Captain America uniform, and she's pissed. But he says he's just trying to do something different. That's uh that's when Batroc and not so coincidentally Sharon shows up, and he starts shooting like smoke grenades into the pit. The Flag Smashers escape into the tunnel, and we get a good look at the heads-up display and thermals through Sam's goggles. It looks pretty cool. Sam can see where they're going, so Bucky and Walker follow Sam. And his thermals can also pick up footprints too. They split up. Bucky and Walker go one way, and Sam goes the other way. Carly's follows a bird noise, the signal they usually use, and Sharon's waiting for her at gunpoint. And here's where Sharon starts to reveal her true colors. She talks about how back in Madripoor, Carly reminded her of herself. She wants the Flag Smashers to work for her again. And Carly uh, refers to her as the power broker. How much power does the power broker really have? Sharon replies, more than you, and that's when Batroc walks in. Batroc says he wants 4 times the pay because he overheard Sharon as the power broker. Sharon says she doesn't do blackmail, and she shoots Batroc. Carly then shoots Sharon. Sam hears the gunfire and rushes to their location, trying to get Carly to stop the killing. To be fair, Sharon is also a bad guy at this point, but Sam doesn't know that. One thing I do appreciate is Sam insisting on wanting to finish this through non-violent ways. Carly starts to fight him, but Sam is able to outmaneuver her and use the shield and wings to take all the force out of her blows. Seriously, and Anthony Mackie, stunt double, really needs a raise because all the flips he was doing in this. We go back to Bucky and Walker. Walker says this, let's say like a corny line, but it's a Abraham Lincoln quote, and mercy bears richer fruit than strict justice. Uh, he says that before they cut off the Flag Smashers. Um, they had used the app um, and led them to where the police were going to be, who quickly surround the Flag Smashers. They have some banter between Bucky and Walker. I guess trying to establish Walker as like not the worst guy ever. After this, Walker says, "Great man, great quote," and Bucky says, "Not when you say it." Meanwhile, Sam is still tanking most of her blows, but she is able to knock him down. Frustrated he's not properly fighting back, she picks up the gun. But then she gets shot by Sharon and dies in Sam's arms. And she says She says she's sorry to Sam before she passes it. And we get this angelic scene of Sam carrying Carly in. I've heard people say it looked kind of corny, or the wings, the CG in the wings didn't look that good, but it looks okay to me. I mean, they could have done better, but I didn't expect the best uh, special effects in this show. And he walks her to a stretcher. So when questions start getting thrown out by reporters, are you still Falcon or are you Captain Falcon now? The politicians also thank him, but the senator insists on referring to the Flag Smashers as terrorists. Sam asks if they're still planning on resetting the borders, and they basically say yes. She even, that woman even refers to the Flag Smashers as terrorists too. So Sam has to speak up, stop calling them terrorists. I think Sam does a pretty good job explaining that the people think the GRC are terrorists because they have weapons and will be moving people against their will. The politicians kind of go full mask off here a little bit. Like, do you really think that the government should be supporting these people? And it's like, yeah. And the guy asks, should the people who come back just go homeless? Of course not. The government obviously should step in and help make sure both people don't go homeless and people don't go hungry and shit for this. And make sure everybody's housed. Sam explains that people around the world have been begging for help, but the guy just says he doesn't understand. He says that Sam doesn't understand. Sam says that as a black guy carrying the stars and stripes, of course he understands the struggles people may go through. We get the shot of Isaiah Bradley watching everything on TV uh, with approval. Sam says they can't possibly ask the people to step up if they aren't willing to meet them halfway. That's true. Um, that he says that Carly died trying to stop them, but no one ever asked why. Obviously, they have to do better. Sam finished his speech and walks over to Bucky, who pretends he wasn't listening. Uh, Walker walks off. Bucky calls Sam Cat for the first time here. Sharon declines going to the hospital, and Sam gets called over by one of the security guys. Says that they got all the Flag Smashers but one, and it's implied Sam goes to help get that one last guy. They are all put into what was this truck. I was kind of hoping some of them would have escaped, but because they generally had good intentions. Um, and at first, I thought that maybe, like before I watched this, is like the second time that maybe some of them, like what it could have survived. But looking at this again, that's a pretty big explosion, so doubtful. The bomber was none other than Osnick, Zemo's butler, finishing his master's work, I suppose. We see Zemo behind bars. Uh, and we see Zemo smiling behind bars as he hears the news. So my notes got messed up. Right, yeah. While he's hearing news of the Flag Smashers' deaths. We then cut to Val talking about talking about the Flag Smashers getting blown up, and she implies that she might have been involved. Walker is trying on his new costume, and she gets impatient, yelling for him to come out. And he then comes out, and he looks pretty good, but at first he's a little underwhelmed. It's the same but black, which is kind of the point of his character. You know, the dark Captain America. She says that we won't need a Captain America, which she says things are about to get weird, and they'll need a U.S. agent, not a Captain America. And here we get a good shot of from the front of his new costume, and he looks pretty stoked to be U.S. agent. We then cut to Bucky telling his friend from the beginning of the show, giving him closure, um, that he killed his son, and Bucky explains he didn't have a choice. Um, Still rough though. He gives the therapist his notebook with all the names crossed out. Then Sam goes to Isaiah Bradley's house, and we get the future Patriot right here, having some discourse. And I'm really glad that they're including this character. It's going to be cool to see him on the Young Avengers one day, whenever that happens. And Isaiah gives Sam respect for doing what he did and telling them politicians off. Sam says he isn't going to let anyone push him, basically. He's not going to let anybody tell him that he can't fight for America or fight for what he believes in, maybe not necessarily America. Sam takes them to the Captain America Museum, and he had Isaiah Bradley put into it. You know, and now nobody will ever forget what he did and what he sacrificed. And then we cut back to um, Sam and Bucky, and they're back in Louisiana. And there's a crawfish boil going on. Everybody's having a good time. Bucky gets along pretty well with the kids. Everybody's partying, having a good time, and the episode ends with Sam and Bucky here having this little bro moment. And in the post-credit scenes, we have Sharon getting her full pardon and her place back at the CIA, which when she leaves, she gets on the phone with somebody that says that you know super soldiers might be out the menu, but government secrets and tech now are. That was the end of the episode, and sorry, my throat's been a little hoarse while I was doing this, and I'm also pretty tired because I stayed up all night preparing this. But my final thoughts for this is I really liked what they did with the show. Um, it could have been a lot better. There was issues because of like COVID restraints, and there's rewriting. My main complaint is the kind of the narrative that they went with the Flag Smashers. Um, uh, and they kind of like implied in the end, they're like, oh, just a misunderstood teenager, and that kind of rubs me the wrong way because that even though they never like they never talk down on the the meaning behind the movement, that still does cast a shadow on it in a way. Um, Now they needed a villain. I feel like they could have done that without um, essentially like demonizing refugees in a way. But um, at the same time, I feel that if they were going to go that route, they did exactly what they needed to countermeasure that by having um, Sam, new Captain America, like come out in full support of their message anyway. Um, and he's like, "Oh, well, don't call them terrorists. They're actually they're just people trying to survive, you know." Uh, but that was like my only complaint. I really liked how they handled um, like Sam Wilson, Captain America. I really like how they handled uh, the Winter Soldier and how they handled. They could Zemo's like another character that they're making him a little bit too ambiguous, but overall, like they very good. They did very well with Zemo. Um, Walker also really well. Um, Explained how they showed how he's controlled by his anger a lot, but he is capable of making the right decision sometimes. He's just very easily manipulated as well. And the show had a lot of good action, and this was like the first time Marvel's like really pushed into like some social issues with um, the MCU, which is what they've been doing like forever in the comics. But pointing out the racial divides and the class divides and how they're connected is something that, regardless of how they portrayed the Flag Smashers, um, the fact that they put that stuff in there is very good and um, pretty much counteracts all the negative. I guess not all the negative stuff that they did with the Flag Smashers, because um, if they're portraying refugees as like murderers, and that's bad. But they did very good in uh, every other situation. I thought how they handled every other characters. But anyway, uh, for the future, I believe this was setting up like Armor Wars, and maybe Norman Osborn, Green Goblin stuff. That's with the weird tech that she had. Um, so there's that, and we got of course Spider-Man No Way Home coming out at the end of this year. But uh, next week we have the start of the Bad Batch, and I'm gonna try to do videos for that as well. And that's like 14 episodes, so hopefully by then I get this down packed a bit more. I still want to make these chill, and be able to get them out without worrying too much about like the editing and stuff. And hopefully, y'all find that charming. But anyway, I'll do Bad Batch videos and I'll do Loki videos whenever we get to that in like 2 months. I'm really excited about Loki, but we'll do we'll do like a May the 4th Star Wars night, and I'll also do like Star Wars Thursdays, I guess, too. Anyway, overall, Falcon Winter Soldier, about like a 9.5 out of 10, I think, as far as the series. Very good. I really liked it, and I really liked WandaVision too. I just wasn't doing videos whenever it was coming out, so I didn't do that. But I'm really excited for the future of the MCU, and I think it's only going to get better, um, especially with them adding social issues, the missing component that they have. Well, anyway, I'm going to try to get some sleep. I've been working on this video all night, so good night.